Next question. What exactly is going to happen? In times, we speak about disasters, about terrible things that are going to happen before the end of the world. Well, let's be more specific. What have people said? Well, from circulating in Catholic prayer circles over the last number of years, there are quite a few things that most people agree on that have a lot of credibility out there. One is called the illumination of conscience. And basically what that is it would be a grace that God would allow that every human being on earth, I'm not sure if it would all be at the same time, but perhaps, would basically get this inner vision, this inner sense of the state of their soul, like a spiritual x-ray. And they would see their soul in the eyes of God. They would see how holy it was, or perhaps how unholy it was, and probably more the second than the first, but anyway. And after that, of course, many people in shock would give their lives to Jesus, would transform their lives, would change their lives, and would start all over. So you see, even this illumination of conscience is coming from a place of mercy, a place from Jesus, from God, the Father, calling people back, saying, I want to save you, but to save you, I need your cooperation. So that's one, the illumination of conscience. There are many other things that are predicted out there. Other things include nuclear wars, Third World War, for example, terrible natural disasters, plagues, pestilence, all sorts of inexplicable things happening, earthquakes, natural disasters like we've never seen before. All these type of things, which of course, if we look around the world, we could say are already happening, but then again, have always been happening to some extent. And so there are some other supernatural ones. One of the things that Jesus revealed to Sister Faustina would be that the time of mercy would give way to the time of justice, and there would be supernatural signs in the sky. There would be 3 days that there would be no natural light, neither from the sun nor the moon, and there would be 3 days in total and utter darkness, and in the sky there would be the marks of Jesus, there would be the marks of the cross. And again, that this would be a supernatural manifestation. That there would also be other things like a blood moon, that the moon would turn red, and what I interpreted from that would be a bright red that nobody could miss, but anyway. And that these things would be given as signs and warnings, not so much threats, but warnings to humanity, warning to people that the spiritual world is real, that this life is short, and that we can't just do what we want. Of course, there are many other things as well that are predicted. Many other things that I can't say personally whether they're true or not. All I can say is that from reading an awful lot of books and from circulating in Catholic circles, and indeed from my own spiritual experiences as well, that I do believe in many of these things. I'm not sure of the nature, I'm not sure of the when and the what and how, but if you ask me if I believe, I would say yes. Another one actually, just as I'm saying, that comes to mind is a very frightening one. It's about a comet falling basically from the sky, hitting planet Earth, and basically wiping out a vast proportion of Earth, which would cause basically millions and maybe even billions of people to die. Now, of course, these sound extremely extreme and almost terribly unlikely. But then again, when we think of the size of the Earth, and when we think of how small and tiny we are, we think of the reality of comets, of outer space. At times we have to say, is it not arrogant of ourselves to think that we will always go totally unprotected? And so I guess God sometimes allows terrible, terrible things to happen to remind us that without His protective hand over us and guiding planet Earth, terrible things can happen. So look, that's some of the most common things out there. And I'm sure some of you out there know far more than I do about this. And perhaps if you do, maybe you will send me an email and enlighten me a little bit more. But for those of you who know nothing at all, hopefully the little starter pack or thing that I gave you is of some use. Thank you for listening.